Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Music and Moonsaults. I'm your host, Chris Bourdine. Joining me again, coming back for round two, Rob Wilkins from Fightful Overbooked. Rob, how's it going?
Good, man. Thanks for letting me do this again. I love doing this kind of stuff. So it's awesome. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. Rob also does. He's the co-host of Coexisting with Rob and Maggie on Fightful Overbooked. He does some stuff on Fightful.com, and then every now and again he'll do a retro review of his own over on Fightful Select. So I thought, well, who better to have on to watch an old match and talk about old Attitude Era wrestling than Rob. So
And you know how to get me, like you were saying, Bret Hart.
I know your soft spots. So
And that's the key for anybody out there. If they ever want me to join their show, they just have to say, yeah, we're gonna review a Bret Hart match. You got me. Like
yeah,
I'm in. So
there you go. So yes, so today we are going to watch. It is SummerSlam season. We are going to be watching from SummerSlam 1997, Heart and Soul. In 1997, every pay-per-view, whether it was a normal pay-per-view or an in-your-house, felt like it had a tagline. I remember Survivor Series later this year, the infamous Montreal Screwjob was Gang Rules. But it's August 3rd, 1997, an early August SummerSlam, which I guess this year SummerSlam's in July.
July.
So,
Yep.
so yeah, there's that. But yeah, it's the main event. It's Bret Hart trying to get his record-breaking fifth WWF World Title from the champion, the Undertaker. And there's a special guest referee who is my favorite wrestler, the Heartbreak Kid, Shawn Michaels. And yeah, this is a really, I love this match so much. I love all the players involved. Like this is the best of the best of this era of WWF specifically.
And it changed. Like, I mean, you could look at it this way. It pretty much changed the business in a way, because this is where Bret got his title, and he didn't lose it until Survivor Series in Montreal. So,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, this is the birth of it, really.
Yeah, it's like a month after this is when he gets the call, or he gets the news from Vince that this new contract we signed you to last year, I can't pay you, so let's reopen those lines of communication with WCW. So, all right, so if you go to Peacock, if you're slumming it like us here in the States, you go to Find SummerSlam, and then you want Season 10, and obviously it's Episode 1. It's the only episode of SummerSlam in Season 10. At least it should be. And then we're going to go to 204.46 is where we're going to start. And I'll give you a second to get there, and then we'll press play on this. So where does anti-America, pro-Canada Bret Hart fit in your Bret Hart power rankings?
I was ready to move to Canada. It was one of those things where it was one of those things where I'm like, I like it here, but I can see his point. And
whatever Bret says goes.
Yeah, if Bret told me to jump off a bridge, it would have probably happened. That's the unfortunate thing when you're about 15 years old. I mean, like, just that was my guy. Like, it was like some kids had Michael Jordan, some kids like had Jerry Rice. I was a Bret Hart guy. Just that was my guy. And yeah, I mean, it's just one of those things where I just, no matter what he did, did I like him turning heel? No, but the thing that helped with me is when in the United States he was a heel, but wherever else he went, he was the biggest face in the business at that time. And I absolutely love that. And I kind of hope one day we get to see somebody do that kind of style again. Not necessarily bash in the US, but I'd love to see where a wrestler is in one country just hated, and then in every other country is just loved.
Yeah.
So
all right. Well, hopefully you guys are caught up. Like I said, 204.46. And I'm going to give a quick countdown. And when I say play, press play. So 3, 2, 1, play.
Arena, that blimp reminds me of JR.
And we got a shot of the blimp, the Stridex blimp. We're in East Rutherford, New Jersey. There's the 3-man booth of Vince Lawler and Jim Ross. I really like this commentary team. I think it's an underrated one. Everyone talks about JR and King, just the two of them, but I think this 3-man booth is really good.
Yeah. I love like, I'm not a big Jerry Lawler fan, but I do like sometimes his like facial expressions with fans.
Yeah, yes. So I totally get why, and there's a funny story. I don't know if I should tell this story. About the night of when he had the heart attack, but anyways, so like this era and through the Attitude Era, I thought Jerry was great. But as years moved on, and especially like the last 10 or so years, I have no use for Jerry Lawler on my television screen. So, yeah. And that's not even taking into account, some of the other stuff with him that,
yeah,
might bug you. So, and rightfully so.
Yeah, it's one of those things where it's like, does Corey really need a honeymoon? Like, does he? I mean, yeah, I'm kidding there, but you know what? Like, it's just can we get somebody else?
Yeah, is there no one else you could have called?
Well, CM Punk's available for Mondays. No.
Yeah, right.
That would have been interesting. But I mean, there's a lot of people that could have gone with. Hey, there's what's his name? God, I always forget his name.
Oh, Vladimir.
Yeah, thank you.
What happened? Weren't they working on a documentary?
Yeah, it's been supposed to come out forever, and then I don't know if they pulled it because of a certain reason, or well, he probably was shown at an AEW show, and they're like, nope, not doing this anymore. No.
Here comes the challenger, Bret Hart.
I mean, these people
Canadian flag. I love This is number one on my Bret Hart power rankings. This is my favorite version of Bret. I think this is when he was able, like, he was always a really great wrestler. Like, but as far as the other stuff, the character work and the, like, this is just awesome. This is a 10 out of 10. This run from, basically from Survivor Series, this year stretch from Survivor Series to Survivor Series is just phenomenal stuff. Just absolutely just great stuff.
Yeah. And that Survivor Series was 96, so that was the Madison Square Garden, I believe.
Yeah, that was the MSG one with the first match against Austin, and that's the one where The Rock debuted, and we're gonna try and get everyone to stand for the playing of the Canadian national anthem. I'm sure that's gonna go over really well.
I'll do it, but okay.
But like, and I love, we talked when you were on last about how a lot of people, they like the faction Hart Foundation more than they like the tag team.
Yeah,
I like them. I like them both equally. Yeah. Like I loved the tag team as a kid, but this faction with him and Owen and Davey and Pillman and Anvil is just great. I love the jacket. Like, if I could have any piece of wrestling memorabilia, it'd be one of these Hart Foundation jackets.
Yep, that would be the one, like, right there.
And when
it'd be kind of cool to just get a custom one, like
when the FTR boys had their match a while back for the against each other for the Owen tournament, and they came out with those tights with the skull, it was chef's kiss. Yeah. I love that. I love it.
I'm kind of just, I mean, it's one of those things where Bret did the thing that was best for him, so he signed that deal with WWE before. but it's also one of those things where I don't necessarily. He's one of those guys that doesn't need to be at TV every week, but you could bring him in like maybe once a month or twice a month, and that's how they could have, if it would have worked. And who knows? I mean, we don't; those deals don't always last forever. So
Yeah. I had a pair of Hitman shades as a kid.
yeah.
Obviously not ones that he gave me, unfortunately, but I got them. I'm guessing I bought them at a live event.
Yeah,
at
mine were from the Shop Zone or whatever they called it then.
Yeah, I'm guessing I bought them. My dad used to take me. They used to run quite often at the Palace of Auburn Hills in the early '90s house shows. And they might have done a couple TV Superstars tapings there too. I can't remember. But they used to come often, and we would go pretty much every time. And so I'm pretty sure that's where I must have gotten them there. I wish I would have kept them, but I didn't. And here comes the referee for the match.
Somebody should super kick him. I'm kidding. The thing is I like talking crap about him, but he's obviously one of the best to ever do it.
Oh, absolutely.
I mean,
absolutely. That's one of those things where, like, I will, I'm a Sean guy, but Bret, I will always give Bret his props, and he's, Bret's definitely like in my top 10. And you'll never, other than maybe playfully, with if I'm talking to someone who's a big Bret fan, but you'll never seriously get me to say something bad about Bret. And I just, the people who kind of like go out of their way and like not only say I don't prefer Sean, just like come out like think Sean's like a flat out like bad wrestler, like I'm like that take like that. It's like, all right, like I that's like me when I was a kid. I hated Michael Jordan, but like he was the best basketball player of all time.
So I assume you were a Pistons then.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So
Bad
that
boys,
explains,
baby. Bad boys.
So was it just, I know side topic, but was it hard when Rodman was a bull for you?
No, because by that time, like he had done, and if it'd be looked at a lot differently now. He was, obviously he was going through some stuff. If you've watched his 30 for 30, where he's like in the Palace parking lot, like this close to like shooting himself with a shotgun.
Yeah.
And that led to his trade to San Antonio.
Yep.
And then so by that time I was kind of already like I'd come to grips that he wasn't a Piston anymore, and it just was like, oh well, he's on the Bulls now. Now I really need to boo him.
Yep.
So. And
the only year I rooted against the Bulls was when they played the Sonics that year in the finals.
Yes.
I love the Rainmaker, man.
Sean Kemp, baby. And the glove, Gary Payton.
Yep. Yeah, I liked him too. And you had the Gillette Strength. And
oh, yeah. Yeah, man, those Sonics. So, I'm of the opinion, and as we're bantering while we wait for the Undertaker to make his entrance, I'm of the opinion, if I were in charge of sports for the day, that all NBA and NHL teams would have to wear their jerseys from the 90s.
Oh, that'd be cool. I'd be okay with that.
Because I think everything was better in the 90s.
Yep. I mean, I look at jerseys now, like every once in a while, like go watch the hockey, like the Wild are in the playoffs, and I was watching last night and I saw one fan in their new alternate jersey, like they had the old North Stars colors, but it's the Minnesota Wild logo, and it's like, damn, I got to get one of those. But then I was also thinking I also need a North Stars logo one because that was like I was a McDonald guy. So
right, yeah, like the hockey ones aren't bad. There's certain like the Ducks, like I would switch the Ducks to the classic Ducks.
Yeah.
And certain things like that, but the NBA ones, and there's like the NBA ones, there's like every team has like a million different jerseys.
Yeah, like Timberwolves from '89, they just had that really generic like Timberwolf and like the blue, and then like I mean your Pistons, they in '94, like when they drafted Grant Hill, like right after maybe when they had that.
It was like 96, 97 when they switched. The first couple years Grant was with the team, they still were rocking the red, white, and blue. I'm actually a big fan of the teal Pistons.
Yeah.
In fact, I'm hoping to. That's the next thing I want is is one of those Grant Hill teal jerseys, and they announced that this coming season. That they'll be rocking those for a few games, so
cool.
I'm pretty pumped for that.
Nice.
So
like before this match starts, I think this was like right at that time frame, and just by the way he looks, I think this is when the Undertaker was in his best shape.
Yeah, well, this is when he started the athleticism. I think this is when he started doing, some of the dives and stuff like that around this era.
Okay, that's what I was like. Man, I'm trying to remember, but.
It's definitely, but by into the next year, because April of '98, or April or May of '98 is the Inferno match, and he does the dive over the ropes in that match. So he's definitely starting to get. Instead of the original Undertaker didn't really move a whole lot, and this version definitely moves a lot more.
My memory sucks. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off there again. Why did Shawn Michaels end up being the ref in this?
So they were bringing the rivalry backstage to the screen.
Oh.
They
that was the Sunny Days comment, I bet. Too.
Yeah, that was part of it, and they were kind of like, at this point, Shawn is still technically a babyface. This match is where he kind of starts the heel turn, and DX is formed not long after this. But yeah, they were just kind of bringing they were supposed to wrestle, I think it was, at King of the Ring this year, and it ended up that's when Bret was out with the knee surgery, and so he ended up wrestling Austin instead, even though they were tag team champions, he and Shawn. And yeah, so there's Bret made the challenge to Taker for this match, and he said that he made the stipulation, if he doesn't win the title here, he'll never wrestle in the U.S. again.
Yeah.
And so they made, I can't remember if it was Gorilla Monsoon or who, made Shawn the special guest referee, and the stipulation is if he intentionally screws Bret out of the title, then Shawn will not be able to wrestle in the U.S. So that's kind of what we're working with here.
Yeah. Okay. That now, like when you said that, I'm like, okay, it makes sense.
And I love. So my favorite era is probably like from the SmackDown debut in August of '99 through May of '01 when Triple H blew his quad. That's my favorite, but I love this era too. I just love like maybe creatively some of the stuff isn't the best, but at this point they've got a couple really good things going. Obviously this whole stuff with these three guys, and the Hart Foundation, and like I said, DX is going to start up here in a minute. But also on this show, you had the cage match with Triple H and Mankind. So there was just some good stuff, and I just like the presentation. The beginning of this pay-per-view is a really cool intro from the old voiceover guy they used to have back in the mid-90s. And it was like talking about how, if life was fair, Bret would still be loved, and it's just I highly encourage all of you, if you haven't seen it, or if you haven't seen it in a while, when we're done with this, go back to the beginning of the pay-per-view and watch the intro to the pay-per-view, because it's phenomenal stuff. I watched it yesterday, wanting to watch the rest of the show in preparation, or as much of it as I could, and it was like, oh, this is that good stuff.
Yeah.
So,
yep.
And we've done some fighting on the outside. Sean's trying to keep control, but, he's not really a referee, and he's, he doesn't want to disqualify either guy.
Yeah.
So he's kind of letting things slide here. Yeah, I like, obviously, I think Taker's best in-ring run is like 07, 08. But I like what he was doing here, too.
Yeah. The only time I really didn't care for the Undertaker thing was the Ministry thing, and I know a lot of people did like that. I thought it was just...
I don't like the Ministry itself. I can take or leave. The Ministry music, though, is the best music Undertaker's ever had.
Yeah, I'll give you that. And then, I did like the... I liked it because it was different, but I did like the... like his American Badass, time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I do too. I do too. I'm a big fan of that. That's actually... So my wife, her favorite wrestler is The Undertaker.
Oh, okay.
And that's her favorite version is the American Badass Taker. So... And Taker has Bret in a bear hug. So Bret's music, though, he pretty much had the same. They changed it up a little bit, but pretty much from the Hart Foundation tag team all the way to the end, he pretty much had the same music, and that's one of my top 5 favorite themes.
Yeah, Jimmy Hart and Jim Johnson, I believe, right?
Yes. Yep.
A lot of people don't know that Jimmy Hart did a lot of the music.
Yeah, especially early in the 80s and stuff because, with the Pile Driver album and stuff like that, he was heavily involved. And then he went on to do a lot of the WCW stuff when he left to go there with Hogan. But my wife and I, when we got married, I was like, whatever you want to do is fine. But when we come into the reception, I want everyone to come out to wrestling themes. Like the party and us, I want us to come out.
Cool. And
she was like, okay, whatever. And it was a big... I tell you, that was the hardest decision I've ever made. I went back and forth so many times on how I wanted to do it. Initially, I wanted we each had 4 members of our wedding party. Mm-hmm. And initially, I wanted each pair to come out with their own music. So I was going to do, all tag teams. So I was going to do, Hart Foundation and Rockers and, Legion of Doom and stuff like that. But I ended up settling on, and in hindsight, I kind of wish I would have made a different decision. But at the same time, it is what it is. But I ended up making the decision that the wedding party came out to the 4 Horsemen theme.
Oh.
The one from the 90s. And then my wife and I came out to Ric Flair's theme.
Oh.
Because we got married the week that his 30 for 30 came out.
Oh, okay. Cool.
So I was like, well, I mean, that makes sense. So that's what we did. It was cool. I was coming out, and of course, all my guys started wooing. So then I wooed back, and then there were people who didn't know what was going on. Like, what? I had people why did you come out to the song from 2001: A Space Odyssey? I'm like, oh, well, it Ric Flair. We finally got Bret's got Taker off his feet, working on the leg, trying to destroy his vertical base. I actually wasn't watching at this time.
Oh, you weren't?
No. So we didn't have cable. And so whenever, I want to say it was I don't know, sometime in 94. Because I think I remember the build up to WrestleMania 10. And then sometime after that, I don't remember when, I I just kind of fell out because the Superstars was still on, and they must have changed. I think it was still on syndication at that point, but they must have changed the time slot where I was living or whatever, and it just wasn't on when I could watch it anymore or something. And I just fell out of it, and then everything went to cable, soon thereafter, and we didn't have cable, so I just kind of fell out. So while everyone at school was talking about wrestling, starting in like middle of '96, and here comes Paul Bearer. What does he want? I was kind of like out of the loop a little bit. So, yeah, I wasn't even watching at this time. So I've had to go back retroactively and watch a lot of this stuff. But it's still I still enjoy it. Like I've seen this match, I can't even, a lot.
Yeah.
I'll just leave it there. I've seen this match a lot. Of course, this is
Sean did pretty good. Sean did pretty good there doing the count. Usually when you see I've noticed lately when wrestlers are like in a move like that, they refs rarely do the count. It's like they forget or I don't know what, but
mm-hmm. And of course, at this time, Paul Bearer has been teasing that Undertaker's brother is alive.
Mm-hmm.
Kane's alive. So we'll be seeing him in a couple months. Bret gets the ropes after Undertaker reversed the figure 4. And now Taker returns the favor, jamming that knee into the canvas. And he punches Paul Bearer.
Didn't really have Bret Hart saving Paul Bearer on my bingo card back in that day.
Right.
But he really wasn't. He was just trying to get to the Taker.
Right.
Tim White.
Oh, yes. Referee Tim White.
Can't help but it just kind of hit me. I because I saw Vladimir, is that his name?
Yes.
Or, yeah, since I saw him, I kind of wonder how many people are still with WWE like that might have worked in this time frame and still with the company. There's probably not many.
Right. Yeah, I know. It's yeah, you're right. Probably not many.
Yeah, very many at all. Like,
oh, here comes Owen and Pillman.
You got Kevin Dunn for sure.
Yeah.
And Bruce Pritchard came back, but he left for a while.
Right.
And granted, you had people retire since then, so, but. I think one of the other referees that came out, that was Jimmy Corderas, I think that was out.
Oh, yeah, uh-huh. Yep.
Love that Pillman shirt. Vladimir clapping for him.
Mm-hmm.
Ooh, wow, an NWO shirt. Oh, there's ECW guy in the sunglasses. He was at every ECW arena show in the first row.
Yeah.
A couple NWO shirts in the arena. But
Mm-hmm.
wouldn't see that really anymore. I maybe you do. I haven't seen an AEW shirt in a while on Raw.
Yeah. For sure.
Brett's elbows were underrated when he used them. Like he did good there with the way he took Taker's leg.
Right.
It's weird seeing Owen.
Yeah, I know.
That'd be like me watching a match with Benoit. No, I still
Well,
would.
I mean, they're different. They're definitely different.
Yeah, absolutely. It's just I'm just saying on a weird scale, like from seeing it. Just I haven't watched a Benoit match since he died.
I haven't seeked out one like
Yeah,
to watch by itself. I've if it's been part of a show that I'm watching, like I don't
yeah,
skip it.
yeah.
Because I mean, like it or not, like
It's history. Yeah,
yeah, he's part of that history, and
yep.
like he's got to be, he,
Yeah, absolutely. I agree 100% with you. It's just, and I haven't had to go back. Like, I mean, none of the pay-per-views I've reviewed have had them, so it's like one of those things where,
yeah, yeah. But yeah, yeah.
this was good.
Mm-hmm.
And this was a show that Austin got hurt at too?
Yes, this is in
Yeah.
fact it was the match right before this
Yeah.
was the show or the match with Owen where his neck was broken.
Yeah, I remember there was a Austin said something about this match, and he goes, um, if you look at Owen, he has a like just like you could just see just didn't seem like himself during that match, like when they
Yes.
showed him.
Yeah.
And like now that I remember that, like that was kind of like Owen. He didn't really do much. His fate, like none of that. He was just kind of like not making any noise. He wasn't talking, and
Choke slam.
Pillman
Yeah.
was doing everything.
Yeah.
I imagine that had to be hard as hell for Owen.
And I like this. Taker's got the cover, but Sean's trying to get the rest of the Hart Foundation out of there. Oh, and Taker's upset. Oh. And this match like sets up the start of the Undertaker Shawn Michaels rivalry,
Mhm.
which would eventually end up causing the end of the first half of Shawn's career with the casket match at the Royal Rumble. Yeah, these are just three guys at the top of their game in this match. You know, Bret obviously is ever the ring general, and then Taker, like I said, he's doing some really good stuff, and Shawn, he's obviously not wrestling in this match, but his mannerisms and his character work as the referee in this match, knowing that he doesn't want Bret to win, but he can't he can't do anything to stop Bret from winning. Otherwise, it'll hurt him. It's just the storytelling gets thrown around a lot today when it comes to matches. This is what I think about when I think of storytelling. What's the story of the match?
Mm-hmm.
So, I think we're gonna be getting double axe handle off the rope.
What time are you at? Just because I'm wondering if I'm
at 2:33:40.
Weird.
You
must. Did you have a commercial break?
I might have.
Oh, okay. Because I'm ahead of you. That's why I was like,
all right, that's fine. Where are you at?
I'll go back.
No. I'll catch up with you because you're probably more accurate than I am. So where are you at?
Yeah, I'm at 2:30. I'm 15 seconds away from 2:35 right now.
Okay.
So 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 2:35.
Okay, there we go. DDT. So. Headbutts from Bret. No. So were you a WWF guy during the Monday Night Wars?
Yep.
Okay.
I was. The only time I ever started watching WCW was when Bret went to WCW.
No,
and
that makes sense.
Then I didn't really care for it at all, so I went back and I would flip whenever Bret was on. But I was always a WWE guy. Today it's definitely changed. I still watch every WWE show, and even though sometimes it's like, not to get anybody mad or upset, there's just times where it's like, my God, that was a waste of time. It was just, but I still watch it. Like I watch it. I know I might not like what happened, but I watch every show. Every like wrestling show they have.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I'm the same. I've always been a WWF, WWE guy. But yeah, the last year or so, I've found it really hard to engage with the product. So, full disclosure, we are recording this ahead of a couple months ahead of time before this gets released. So hopefully in that time something changes and will make me Cody being back has helped. I definitely tune in to Raw for his segments, but I'm still not to the point where I'm willing to spend 3 hours of my Monday night watching Raw.
Yep.
And I'm the type of guy where unless it's really good, if I don't see it live, I'm just not gonna watch it.
And I used to be that way, but now it's like one of those things where I can.
It's just more of a time thing. There are other things I do. I don't with a wife and a kid. I don't get too much free, quote unquote free time. Yeah. So it's it's not like I go out of my way to avoid spoilers. So I already know what goes on with these shows. Yeah. So it's if I don't, and it's not just there. Most weeks, I don't watch Rampage either because I don't I don't stay up till 11 o'clock watching Rampage on a Friday night.
Yeah.
And unless something super awesome happens that I hear about,
Yep.
a lot of times I won't end up watching it because I just don't make it's not that I don't have the time. I don't make the time to go back and watch it.
Yeah.
So.
Yep. I'm with Raw. If I'm not, usually it's like one of those things where I can start Raw later. Like I don't have to start it at like 8 o'clock or 7 o'clock my time, but I can start it later and still catch up, which is good in one way, but it's also annoying as hell in another way because it just shows how much time like you waste during the show. I mean, I don't know if you've ever noticed, but if you count the time frame, like how much in-ring action you see on Dynamite in 2 hours, you get more. Some occasionally, not always, but occasionally you'll see more in-ring time on Dynamite than you did on Raw, and it's just, come on.
Yeah.
Not always, but just occasionally.
Mm-hmm. Is he gonna try and choke slam him out of the ring or on the apron or something? Oh, from the outside, back inside. Okay. There we go. Both men are down. But Taker rolls over for the cover. Bret kicks out. Yeah, I never got, like, there's, people were throwing the stat around about how much actual wrestling was on both nights of WrestleMania this year.
Yeah.
And, like, to me, like, I get it if what you watch for most is the in-ring stuff. I get it.
Yep.
To me, it's like wrestling is it's like a soup or a stew or, if you're or even like a pie chart, there's different aspects. Yes, it's the in-ring stuff, but it's also, I love, especially if it's a good promo. I love promos, so it doesn't bother me usually if there's a lot of talking on a show or stuff like that, because it's all part of the same part of the thing that I love.
Yeah, my problem goes back to the constant replays. I don't need to see the same replay 3 times in an hour.
Yes.
That goes the biggest way. And the video, there's also just little things like Becky Lynch this past week. Today's May 5th, and then on Monday she came out and it was 15 minutes till her match started. It was just like, come on.
Yeah, they've been really bad at the last. I think it started. Can't remember if was it pre-pandemic when it was really that bad, or is it just been since the pandemic where it's gotten?
I think it's
bad?
Been since. I think it. Well, I take that back. It was before the pandemic because they did it at. I went to the Raw in August of 20. When was it? 29. Pandemic started in 2020.
Yes.
Right. So it was October of 20 or August of 20. It was right before AEW started. I went to a Raw taping at in St. Paul, and pretty much that's what like I remember Braun Strowman. That's the night Braun and Seth Rollins won the tag team titles from the Good Brothers.
Oh, okay.
Literally, they stood in the ring 15 minutes before the match started.
Mm-hmm.
And granted, it's good for the people that were around ringside because Braun just walked around signing autographs. It was just ignorant. I don't know.
Yeah.
Ooh, nice clothesline.
Yeah. Yep.
One thing I always liked about Bret selling is he always looked like he was in just pain.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. He really attacked the mat too when he was taking, his bumps and stuff. Like he didn't look like he was falling gracefully. And what we got here? Oh yes, the sharpshooter around the ring post.
Yeah, for the kids. 4. Whoops. Oh, yep. This is it. This starts it.
Oh. Undertaker kicks Bret off, and he lands right on Shawn Michaels.
Good stuff, pal.
Bret's trying to introduce a chair to the ring. Crack.
Back when chairs were chairs.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Yeah, obviously knowing what we know now, I don't want to see any current day chair shots to the head. But boy, if it like when I watch this old stuff back, if it's just not like, I don't know. It's I can't say, it's not that I enjoy it. It's just I
just don't know how, like, it didn't give them well, maybe it did give them concussions back then, but it just doesn't now.
Right.
I'm like, wow. Because some of those shots that The Rock would take sometimes, or Shane McMahon, or even Vince
Shane, Shane would. Now Shawn sees the chair. He's asking Bret, "Did you use it?" And Bret's like, "No, I didn't use it." Shawn's not buying it.
Oh, that's a nasty loogie. God.
Oh yeah. Oh right. Oh. Bret speaks to Lukey and.
Oh God, that might have like started it all right there, because that was a nasty loogie.
Oh yeah.
Oh.
And Shawn has to reluctantly count
to
3.
God. I always forget about that every time I see this match. I just always forget about how nasty that one was.
Mm-hmm.
Because he kept that one in for a while.
Yeah. Shawn's not happy walking to the back. The crowd in New Jersey is not happy.
And he's doing great. Just throw that stuff at him. I love it. And then Taker's going after him.
Yep. Taker's like, oh, I'm going to kill me some Shawn Michaels.
But you know what he's really thinking. He's like, okay, what strip club am I going to?
Yeah.
5 times. Oh, telling New Jersey they're number 1.
Yep.
Well, she's happy. I actually, that eye roll that he just had, they show that in almost every highlight or montage they do of Taker.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Bret. One thing Bret did better than almost anyone is like the importance of being champion.
Mm-hmm.
Like he just made like being the world champion feel more important than almost anybody.
Yeah.
Of course everyone wanted to win it, but like he really, the way he would kiss the belt and all that. Like he just always he just always made being the world champion feel like the most important thing, which it should be.
I think it was Jim Ross, and I might be misquoting. It might not have been him, but I think on a podcast he said that if you're in a wrestling organization and you don't want to be the heavyweight champion, what the hell are you doing here?
Right.
I
agree with that to a certain point, but there's, not everyone's going to be a world champion, and some people have, some people know that.
But and I think he meant like what I think he meant was if you don't want to be a champion at all, maybe. And like I don't think he was talking about tag teams, because you got to look at like FTR. Neither one of them want to. Neither one of them really want to work independent or singles. I mean, they will, but they want to be together.
Bret's little shimmy after the 3 count killed me.
Mm-hmm. He's happy.
Yeah.
Man, it's hard to believe we lost Pillman 2 months later, not even, maybe 3.
2, yeah, about 2 months later. And yeah,
that
was really when Anvil died a couple years ago, and there was that picture. There's that famous picture of the 5 of them.
Yep.
They're like in an alley or whatever, and they're all in jeans and the leather jackets.
Yeah.
And like everyone was in black and white except for Bret. He was the only one still in color. And that man, that really, that really really gets you, you know.
Yep.
So
Bulldog, Pillman, Hart.
yep. So alrighty.
What was Anvil in this? Huh. Oh, this might have been like where I think he had a little contract issue like during a short time of this. I cannot remember
No,
though.
he was around because so the story going into the pay-per-view that every member of the Hart Foundation had some sort of stipulation attached to their match.
Okay.
So obviously Bret here, it was the if I lose I can't wrestle in America anymore. Pillman wrestled Goldust, and if Pillman lost, he had to wear Marlena's dress. Bulldog wrestled Shamrock, and it was like the loser had to eat dog food. And then it was the reason why they couldn't call the audible in the once Austin got hurt in the Austin Owen match is because it was like a kiss my ass match, whereas whoever lost had to kiss the winner's ass on Raw the next night.
Yep.
And so Anvil, he didn't have a match, and so his was I can't remember if it was if any of them lost or if all of them lost, that he was going to shave off his goatee. But obviously that didn't. If they all lost, obviously Bret won, so that saved that. And then it did a lot of it didn't get followed through on, but yeah, no, Anvil was around at this time. I'm not sure why he's not here, but Anvil was still around at the time. So,
I just for whatever reason I thought there was just a short period of time where he had a contract issue.
Maybe you could be right. I could be not remembering that right now, but I know at least like in the lead up to this, he was on TV because.
Oh, you know what? Too there was
because the month before this is the Canadian Stampede.
Yeah, there was also and I could be like mistaken, but I think because, when he came, when did he come back?
It was earlier this year.
Because I know at one time he was still doing independence because he had a lot of dates, and Vince let him honor those too because it was
the end of in fact I can tell you because they just watched this episode on, was it on JR's podcast? It was like the end of April of this year, because they did the thing where Bret was in the wheelchair on top of the stage.
Yep.
And there's chaos, and all the rest of the members of Hart Foundation were gone, and Austin was there, and so he was like that famous shot of Bret on the ramp by himself, on the stage by himself, and Austin just walking up the ramp like, I'm finally gonna get you, and then that's when Anvil came back because he came out of nowhere and attacked Austin. So
yep. Now I remember that.
Yeah, this is a really, like I said, this is a really good match. One I think of fondly. It's one of my. It might be. I know 92 at Wembley is the popular pick, but I think this is my favorite SummerSlam match.
No, it's a good one.
So, but
it is that indeed.
Rob, where can people find you?
You can find me at Fightful.com. Otherwise, you can follow me on Twitter, and please do. I usually follow back if you're. As long as your Twitter handle doesn't start with your name and then like 485 numbers afterwards. But I usually do follow you back. And you can catch me every Friday at 3:00 Eastern on Fightful Overbooked. That's youtube.com, Fightful Overbooked, or FightfulOverbooked.com. I do a show called Coexisting with Rob and Maggie. It's a fun show. We basically talk wrestling, and then we have 3 non-wrestling segments where we talk about some good things, and then I tell a couple of jokes that usually go over pretty well. Sometimes they don't. And I would say it's a show that's between PG, 13, and probably rated R. So I just like giving that warning to people.
Yeah. So yeah, check out Rob. Support all he does. Support the good people at Fightful. It's a great community over there. One I'm proud to be a part of. In fact, when I started watching I listened to the audio podcasts, and I started in like 2019, right around WrestleMania 2019, and at that time you were just a listener like everyone else, and I would be listening to the post shows and be like, Rob Wilkins sends in the super chat like five.
I will like
10
I'll
times
tell
an
you,
episode.
Occasionally you see like Sean gets questions. Sean Ross Sapp gets questions like, how do I get into like wrestling media? Well, so I started like in 90. I technically started in 97, but from 1998 to 2000, I was covering wrestling on a couple of like sites that weren't that big, and then about 2000, it's like, okay, this just isn't going anywhere, so I left it, and then around 2018, 17, 18, I really liked Fightful.com, and I was doing stuff. I was like asking questions on like doing the super chats, and then I told Sean like, man, let me help you build Fightful's Facebook, and I just went from that to I went from like first being a moderator on YouTube, then I went to doing Facebook stuff along also, and then I asked if I could do a column where I was covering wrestling merchandise, and then he had an opening for somebody to. At that time, they were doing live coverage of AEW Dark, so I did that, and then somebody quit like right after I started, and I was given Dynamite and NXT, and it just was a perfect time. And now I occasionally help with news if they're busy, and then I asked if I could get a show, and it just I worked my way up, and that sometimes that's the easiest way to do it. Like start as a moderator sometimes, and just keep going. And I mean that's what I did, and it worked. I had a feeling it would if I just kept doing my thing, and it did. Now I'm part of the team, and I gotta say it's something else being part of the number one like breaking news wrestling news channel. It is something that I don't take for granted, and I love it. And I never like when I started this, that wasn't the case. I just really liked what they were doing because Sean, we had under at that time, and I say we, but we had under 150 Patreons at that time. Like, and now we're over. I think we're over 6,000 right now.
Yeah, it's grown so much in the last few years. It's ridiculous how much it's grown. So
it's gone great. So I'm proud to be a part of a great team with like Jeremy Lambert, Robert D. Felice.
Jeremy's awesome.
Yeah, don't let him know that though. No, I'm kidding. We go. Jeremy's like one of the nicest guys, and I just hate his hockey team, so we just kind of go back and forth on that. We used to. Now he just doesn't even bother talking to me about it. But yeah, he's a great guy, and Sean, of course, working with him's been fantastic, and just everybody that's part of the group there is just it's great. It's like it's a family kind of atmosphere, and again, I'll tell anybody the best way to get started in this business, if that's what you're trying to do, is your best bet's to start low on a totem pole and just keep doing your thing, and eventually somebody will notice you and you get a chance, and that's really the way to do it. I mean, when I started doing this show or started doing a show, the last thing I ever thought I was asked to be on one of our local radios, or not local radio stations. It's a station in Minneapolis. It was KFAN. They usually go back and forth with Philadelphia for the number one rated sports radio station.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
In the country. And I was not expecting to ever be asked to be a guest on the show to talk wrestling, and
right.
So, I mean, this definitely has helped me like move on and move up and stuff. And I just keep doing my thing, and it's been a blast.
Heck yeah, man. So yeah, support Rob, and all that, and that's FightfulSelect.com. It's like lowest tier is $5 a month. I pay it gladly and willingly every month, and I have since November of 2019. So yeah, I mean it's a great deal. You can follow me on Twitter at IbanezChris. please subscribe to the channel here and leave a thumbs up on the video. Tell your friends. Tell them just go to musicandmoonsaults.com. They'll direct you right to the YouTube page. And then if you like me and you take in your podcast more of an audio format, I'm on podcast platforms, all the big ones, Apple, Google, Spotify. So yeah, check me out on there too. But yeah, so Rob, thanks again for joining me, and until next time, everyone, see ya.
Thank you.